This is the complete story of Joseph from the book of Genesis, chapters 37 through 50. Many years ago, in the land of Canaan, there lived a man whose name was Jacob. And Jacob had two families of sons. The first family he had with his wife Leah, and the second family he had with his wife Rachel. Now Rachel loved Joseph more than any of her children, and she said to Jacob, "God has given me this son as a reward for my unfaithfulness, because I have been with child for him, and have not borne him a daughter." And Leah loved Joseph as much as her own son Reuben. But Joseph was Jacob's favorite, and when he made him a coat of many colors, his brothers became very angry and said, "Look how our father shows favoritism. We are his sons, and he has made this one a king over us." Then Joseph had another dream and told his brothers, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves in the field, and suddenly my sheaf arose and stood upright, and yours were gathered around mine. And the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to me." That night, Joseph's brothers took him and cast him into a pit. But when they saw that it was getting dark, they decided not to do anything until morning. Then there came a caravan of Midianite traders passing by, and Joseph's brothers sold him to them for 20 pieces of silver. Then they took the coat of many colors and dipped it in blood and brought it back to their father Jacob, saying, "Look, Joseph's blood is on this coat. Truly the beast has devoured him." So Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son Joseph, thinking he was dead. Now, the Midianites brought Joseph into Egypt and sold him to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, who became his master. And Joseph pleased the Lord and prospered in his hands. So much so that Potiphar made him overseer of his house and all that he had. But after some time, Potiphar's wife began to lust after Joseph, but he refused her advances and would not stay with her. Then she got angry and, to take revenge, accused Joseph of attempting to touch her. And even though Joseph was innocent, Potiphar believed his wife's lie and had Joseph put into prison. Now, while Joseph was in prison, Pharaoh's butler and baker each had their own dream. And when Joseph interpreted their dreams, telling them exactly what would happen, it came to pass just as he said. Pharaoh then had a dream of 7 fat cows, followed by 7 lean, ugly cows, and 7 ears of corn, full, healthy, and green, and 7 withered ears of corn. And in the morning, his spirit was troubled. So Pharaoh called for his magicians and astrologers, but none could interpret his dream until Joseph was brought in. And when Joseph told Pharaoh that he could interpret his dream, Pharaoh was glad and said to Joseph, "You shall be over my palace, and all my people shall obey your commands. You shall only be under Pharaoh, because Pharaoh wants to establish you in the kingdom." So Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream, which was that there would be 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. And he advised Pharaoh to store up grain during the 7 years of plenty, so they could have enough to eat during the 7 years of famine. And Pharaoh followed Joseph's advice, and he appointed him ruler over all the earth. And Joseph organized granaries, where grain was stored in great quantities. Then the years of plenty came, and the grain gathered in Joseph's time brought forth plenty of food throughout all the land of Egypt. Soon afterwards, the years of famine began, and as predicted, people came from all around to buy grain in Egypt. Among those who came to buy grain were Joseph's brothers. They did not know that Joseph was in Egypt, for he was still hated by them. When Joseph saw his brothers, he was glad, but he hid his face from them and tested them to see if they had changed. And he said to them, "Go back to the place where you stayed, and I will send the food ahead of you." But they said, "We do not want to do that unless you swear by God that you will treat us kindly, and that you will not sell us into slavery, you and your household. We are your prisoners." So Joseph swore to them and sent them away. Then Joseph commanded that they should bring Benjamin to him the next year. Now, the next year, when they returned to Egypt, Joseph said to them, "Your fast seems to be genuine, but you have lied about being innocent. Come here, I will judge you." Then Joseph ordered that Simeon be put in prison until the next year, and he allowed the others to go home with Benjamin. But before they left, he filled their sacks with silver and gold and grain. Then Joseph said to his servant, "Fill the man's sack with as much grain as he can carry, and put the money and the cup in the sack, and put the lad Benjamin as a prisoner." So when they departed from him, the weight of the grain caused them to stumble. And Joseph said to them, "Who is it among you that has stolen my cup?" They said, "We are innocent, my lord. He is the lad you have set over your household." And we knew there was a cup in the sack. "Very well," said Joseph. "Then bring him before me." Now, when Judah learned what was happening, he pleaded with Joseph, saying, "My lord, please deal with your servant according to your servant's righteousness. And don't look at what's in the sack. My lord, I have brought my son, my only one, and there is no one else left. As for my old father, the old man, his life is many days past, and there are already harsh and cruel men there. And if he loses his reason and dies, who will tell him of his sons, except you? I beg you, put me instead of the young man in prison, and let the young man go up with us to show my father the way back to you." So Joseph couldn't bear to part with him at that time. But when Judah mentioned his old father, his heart was touched, and Joseph wept, then revealed his identity to his brothers. Then he brought Jacob, his father, out of Canaan. And when Jacob saw Joseph, he fell on his neck and kissed him. Joseph also showed his father the many wonders that he had seen in Egypt. And when they arrived in Goshen, Joseph made ready his home for his father and gave him the finest of the land. Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and Pharaoh allowed Jacob's family to settle in the land of Goshen. And Jacob blessed all of Joseph's children, and gave them their hereditary possessions. Then Jacob grew very old and said to all his sons, "Gather around me, and I will tell you what will happen to you in days to come." And as he gave his last blessings, he said to Joseph, "All your male offspring shall be like the children of Israel, and all your descendants, though they are the offspring of another people, shall be like the offspring of Abraham. Your descendants shall become a multitude, like the stars of heaven, and like the sand that is on the seashore, which cannot be measured. In your offspring, Jacob, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed." In this way, Joseph lived in Egypt, far from his father's home in Canaan, until he was 110 years old. And before he died, he made the children of Israel promise that they would return to the land of Canaan and bury him there. So after Jacob and Joseph both died, the children of Israel were able to fulfill Joseph's request, and he was buried in Canaan.